Holy shit.
How are you feeling?
Like I am gonna sleep like for a year. Like I literally a year.
Yeah, that was pretty intense, huh?
Oh my God. That was pure magic.
That is Jasmine. Jasmine is a high achieving woman, the kind of woman who has her life together in almost every way. She came to me because, despite everything she had built, love had always felt just out of reach. She had ended a dysfunctional marriage. She knew her patterns. She'd done the work, and she was still stuck. What you just watched is the moment she came out of hypnosis. That is not a performance. That is not coached. What you're seeing is a woman who has just accessed something she has carried quietly for a very long time and felt it shift. I'm sharing this with her full permission and her full blessing because I think a lot of women need to see what healing actually looks like. Not the before and after, not the polished testimonial, the actual moment. In this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly what happens in an RTT session, what it feels like from the inside, what you experienced before, during, and after, and why a process that looks like this raw, this emotional, this real, produces changes that last. If you haven't watched the first video in the series, I'd suggest starting there. The link is below. But if you're here because Jasmine's face told you something, stay. Let's talk. Let's start before we even get to the hypnosis. When a client books an RTT session with me, the first thing I do is understand what we're actually working on, not just the symptom, the pattern underneath the symptom. Because the presenting issue is rarely the real issue. A client might come to me saying, I keep attracting men who aren't emotionally available. But the real question is, why does emotional unavailability feel like chemistry? What did she learn and when did she learn it that made distance feel like desire? Or she might say, I self sabotage when things get good. And what we're really asking is, what does her subconscious believe will happen if she actually lets someone in? What is it protecting her from? We find that question together before the session begins, because in RTT, we don't go into hypnosis without a destination. We go in looking for something specific. I also ask about her history, not in a clinical way, but in a human way. What relationships shaped her? What did she see modeled growing up? What moments, big or small, taught her what love means, what she deserves, whether people stay? By the time we begin, I know exactly where we're going. Now, the part people are most curious about and most nervous about, the hypnosis itself. I want to address something first. You are never unconscious. You are never out of control. You are always aware of where you are and who you're with. What shifts is the quality of your awareness. The noise quiets, the defenses relax. The critical analytical part of your mind, the part that argues with everything, steps back. And the part that actually holds your history becomes accessible. This is the theta brainwave state. You've been there before, in the moments just before you fall asleep, when thoughts start to become images and you're not quite one thing or the other. RTT guides you into that state intentionally. And in that state, we go looking. Most people are surprised by what comes up. Sometimes it's a memory they haven't thought about in decades, a moment that, on the surface, seemed ordinary. A parent's offhand comment, a time they were left out, a quiet moment of feeling like too much or not enough. But the subconscious doesn't forget. It files everything, and it made decisions about all of it. What we do in session is find those decisions, look at them with adult eyes, understand what that younger version of you was doing. She was surviving, she was adapting, she was doing the best she could with what she knew. And then gently, we update the belief, not through willpower, through the same channel it was formed. A typical session is 90 minutes. For most of my clients, it is the most significant 90 minutes they've invested in their love lives. The session isn't where it ends. In some ways, it's where it begins. At the end of every RTT session, I create a personalized recording for my client, specific to her, her history, her patterns, and the belief we worked on. It's not a generic meditation. It's built entirely around what came up in her session. She listens to that recording every day for 21 to 30 days. Here's the science behind that. Your brain forms new pathways through repetition. We call this neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire at any age. What we do in session is plant a new belief at the subconscious level. What the recording does is reinforce that pathway until it becomes the default, until the new thought isn't something you're trying to think, it's just what you think. This is why RTT produces changes that feel different from insight. You don't just understand something new, you are something new. Megan, a client who had done Tony Robbins seminars, meditation, and multiple coaches before working with me, said one 90-minute RTT session produced more noticeable results than anything she had tried before it. Anita came to me genuinely frightened in social situations with men. 2 days after her session, she noticed a shift in how she felt in a room full of men. Within a week, she was being approached. Within a few weeks, she was dating someone new. We didn't change the men around Anita. We changed what was happening inside her when she was near them. I want to speak directly to the skeptic watching this because I was her. I know what high achieving women do with information they can't fully control or measure. They hold it at arm's length. They do more research. They decide they need to understand the mechanism before they trust the outcome. I get it. And I want to give you the mechanism. Dr. David Spiegel, Associate Chair of Psychiatry at Stanford, one of the world's leading researchers on clinical hypnosis, describes the hypnotic state as focused attention so intense that it creates a kind of tunnel vision. Not magic, not woo, a specific neurological state with measurable properties. RTT was developed by Marissa Peer, voted Britain's best therapist, after 30 years of working with clients, including royalty, Olympians, and CEOs. It is not a new age experiment. It is a clinical methodology that has been refined over decades. And here's the question I want to leave with you. You have tried the conscious approaches. You have thought about your patterns, analyzed them, understood them, and the pattern is still there. What would it cost you to try the one approach that works at a different level? Not what does it cost financially, what does it cost you to still be here in the same place 2 years from now, having done everything except the thing that could actually change it? If you're ready, the link to book a session is below. We work together directly, just the two of us. One session is often enough to find the route, and the route is always findable. If you're not quite there yet, that's okay too. Subscribe because the next video in this series is a full transformation story. I'm going to be telling you what my life looked like before and what it looks like now. And if this resonates, share it. There is a woman in your life who recognizes herself in everything I just described. She needs to see Jasmine's face too.